All right, boys, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss 5-5, and we're going to talk about the standard form of linear equations. So far, I like to always review stuff. So far, we've learned 2 of the 3 forms of linear equations. We know the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Y is independent. M is the slope, which is rise over run if it's positive, fall over run if it's negative. Remember that for slope, we always run to the right unless going backwards. The x is independent, and the b is the y-intercept, which is the y value on the y-axis when x is 0. Please remember that the slope-intercept form is the best way to graph an equation. It's the best way, all right, because you just plot your y-intercept and then you follow your slope for 3 to 5 points. The point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1 and y1 are a given point, that is the best way to go ahead and write an equation. They can give you a point and a slope and you plug it in, or they can give you 2 points and then you find the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and then plug in the given x1 and y1 value, and you're done. If you have any confusions on what I just explained for 1 and 2, I suggest strongly you go back to my previous videos, which taught these in detail. Now we're talking about standard form, okay, guys? Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So far, pretty much a repeat of what I just said. We have already learned how to work with the slope-intercept form, which is by far the best form to use when graphing a linear equation. The point-slope form, which is the best form to use when writing a linear equation. Today we will learn about the standard form, which is the best way, believe it or not, to graph a linear equation when using x and y intercepts. So when they give you an equation in a particular fashion that we're going to learn today, there's a quicker and easier way to graph than finding the slope-intercept method. So let's talk about this. When we're talking about standard form, ax plus by equals c, a and b and c are all real numbers, okay? And a and b are both usually integers, but not 0. Please remember what integers are. They're whole numbers. We don't want a or b to be fractions. They can be positive or negative whole numbers. They're integers. So remember that the integers are their whole numbers and their opposites. So we always want to make a and b integers, okay? Doesn't matter what c is. C can be a fraction. But a and b must always be turned into whole values, integers. Sometimes you will be asked to convert a linear equation into standard form. Okay? Simply manipulate the equation so as to put the x and the y together on one side. You want to isolate the constant in this case. The constant here is the c. C is what's constant because it's not being affected by the dependent x or the independent y. Now, the usefulness of the standard form is when you want to graph using the x and y intercepts. We've talked about this concept of intercepts. Some of us understand it clearly. Some of us from the last test I just saw are still need some refresher. When we're talking about an intercept, my friends, it's a value based on the other variable being 0. When I want to find the x-intercept, it is going to be the x value, check this point out, the x value when y is 0. It's the x value on the x-axis when y equals 0. So if I have y equals 2x plus 4, and I want to find the x-intercept, I simply make y 0, and I solve for x. So I subtract 4 to both sides. Negative 4 equals 2x divided by 2. X equals negative 2. So my x-intercept would be negative 2, comma 0. It's the x value when y is 0. It's a simple matter of just plugging in. Now, if you don't know how to manipulate the equation still, and you're still having problems solving an equation, I suggest you look at my previous videos. We're going to talk about the y-intercept in blue to not have any confusions. The y-intercept is the y value on the y-axis when x is 0. Check it out. It's the y value, okay, on the y-axis when x is 0. So in this particular case, if I have y equals 2x plus 4, think about it. Make x 0, solve for y. So y equals 2 times 0 plus 4. So y equals 4. So my y-intercept is 0, 4. It's the y value when x is 0. This is something you must learn, not memorize, because if you memorize it, it'll leave. You must learn this. You must really absorb this. This is going to be with you for the rest of your mathematical career. I promise you. Learn it today. Learn it now, my friends. And it will behoove you in the future. Okay? Behoove means benefit. Now, let us continue. What is an equation of the line y equals 3/4 x minus 5 in standard form? Use integer coefficients. Does anybody remember what a coefficient is? Anyone? Yes, sir. The number being multiplied to the variable. Very good. So, for example, in this particular case, the 3/4 is the coefficient because it is the number being multiplied to the variable. What's the invisible coefficient of y here? There's an invisible 1. That's the coefficient of that. So coefficients mean the number being multiplied to the variable. Well, we had just stated in the last slide that in order to turn an equation into standard form, you want to get the x and the y together on one side. You want to get them together on one side. But you don't want any fractions, okay? Not for the coefficients. So let's put on our thinking caps, my brothers. How can we get rid of that fraction? How do we get rid of that denominator of 4? State change flip, son, is when you're dividing fractions. Yes. Very good. If you want to get rid of this denominator of 4, you multiply both sides by 4. These are skills we have already learned, and this is what I have been begging you not to do. You guys are doing what I told you not to do. You're not practicing every day, and you're forgetting this. Because unfortunately, only one of you had their hand up. The rest of you had no clue how to get rid of that fraction. And that's just, I don't know, that's just not fair. I have already taught this, gentlemen, so please, you need to focus. So I'm going to multiply 4 to both sides. 4 times y is 4y. I'm going to distribute this 4 to everything on this side. So 3/4 x times 4 is 3x. Negative 5 times 4 is 20. I want to get the x and the y together, though, on one side. So what do you think I would do here, gentlemen? Subtract 3x. Very good, son, to both sides. So my final answer is going to be negative 3x plus 4y equals negative 20. Remember, that's standard form. ax plus by equals c. In this particular case, the a is negative 3. The b is 4. And the c is negative 20. Does everyone see how and why I did that? Promise? Just simply got to get the x and the y's together. Yes, sir. Because if I wanted to get rid of this 4, son, I must multiply 4 to both sides. Because whatever I do to one side of the equation, if you remember, I must do to the other side of the equation to keep them even. So if I multiply 4 to this side, my brother, I must multiply 4 to that side, sir. Thank you for your honesty, son. Second example, okay? What is an equation of the line y equals negative 3/7 x plus 5 in standard form? using integer coefficients. What would I do here? Multiply 7 to both sides. Very good, my friends. So this is going to give me 7y equals negative 3x plus 35. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So what do I do, my man? That's exactly correct. You want to get rid of that negative 3x. So you're going to add 3x to both sides. And I'm going to have 3x plus 7y equals 35. And I am done. Because I always want to write it in the form of ax plus by equals c. Remember, the a and the b can be positive or negative, but they cannot be fractions. Why can they not be fractions? Because they tell you to use integer coefficients. And integers are their whole numbers and the opposites. So that means it does not include fractions or decimals. Is everyone with me so far? Okay. One more. Let's complicate things a little bit. What is an equation of the line y minus 2 equals negative 1/3 plus times x plus 6? First of all, real quick, what form of the linear equation is this? This is the point slope form. Very good. For those of you, some of you on the test, you're getting them all backwards. This is the point slope form. Why is it called point slope form? Because they give you one point and they give you a slope. Okay? Why is slope intercept called slope intercept? Because they give you an intercept and they give you a slope. This is just little tricks that you may want to use to help really solidify your knowledge. Please. All right, boys. Let's see what we're doing now. Okay. So now, how do we do this? How do we go about doing this? What are we going to have to do here first? So correct. You're first going to have to solve for y. Put this bad boy into slope intercept. So this is y minus 2. Got to distribute, my brothers. So this is going to be minus 1/3 x minus 2. Go ahead and add the 2 to both sides. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 0. Okay, so I have y equals negative 1/3 x. That's awesome if I want it in slope intercept form. Now what do we do to make it standard form? Sorry. Get rid of the fraction. How do we get rid of this fraction? Subtract 3. Multiply 3 over 1 to both sides. So it's going to be 3y equals negative x. Now what? You add x to both sides because I want the x and the y together on one side. So this is x plus 3y equals 0. This is ax plus by equals c. In this case, the a is 1. That's the invisible coefficient of x. The b is 3, the coefficient of y. And the constant c is 0. Talk to me. Sir, does it make sense? We're all on the same page here so far? Awesome. All right, thank you. Awesome. Now, here's where all of this stuff comes together, okay? The whole point of knowing how to use standard form is to be able to graph things quickly, but there's one condition to this, okay? If I told you to graph A, most people right off the bat would go, okay, negative 3x to both sides, 4y equals negative 3x plus 24, divide 4 to both sides, y equals negative 3/4 x plus 6. So my y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My slope is down 3 over 4. 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. Backwards, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. I go down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. So that would be my line. Not bad, pretty quick. I'm pretty quick at this. And everyone should know what I just did. That is how I have trained you to do this. All right? Now, I have an easier way. All right? But there's just one catch to this. This easier way must fit a procedure. It must have one common link. In order for you to graph an equation in standard form using the x and y intercepts, please pay attention. The a and the b, the coefficients of both x and y, must be a factor of c. Does 3 go into 24 evenly? Does 4 go into 24 evenly? So that means 3 and 4 are both factors of the c. Are you with me so far? If and only if that works, that is when you use the procedure I'm about to teach you. Guys, when you have this situation and you have the a and b are both factors of the c, find the x-intercept, find the y-intercept, graph both of those points, connect the dots. Let me explain what I just said. Let's first find the x-intercept. If I'm going to find the x-intercept, that's the x value and y is 0, right? So if y is 0 here, won't this just be 3x equals 24? So x equals 8. So x equals 8. Does everyone just see what I did? That is 8, 0. That is the x-intercept. That is the x value on the x-axis when y equals 0. What happened to the 4y, Mr. Morrow? What's 4 times 0? 4 times 0 is 0. So I don't need to put that. It went bye-bye. It went bye-bye for the x-intercept. Now, I want to find the y-intercept. What do you think is going to go bye-bye this time, guys, for the y-intercept? The x. Because what's 3 times 0? So that goes bye-bye. So 4y equals 24. Y equals 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That point is 0, 6. It's the y-intercept. The y value on the y-axis when x equals 0. Connect the dots and you're done. Talk to me, boys. Sir, thank you.
You can do either way, though, right?
What do you mean either way? There's only one way. Oh, yes, but sometimes it's going to be a little bit more time consuming. And regardless of whether or not you guys want to do this, there's going to be questions on the quiz, on the test, on SATs. It's going to say, find the x and y intercept. So even if you don't want to graph it this way, which is way easier, if and only if the coefficients of x and y are both factors of the c, even if you don't want to graph it that way, you still have to know how to find my x-intercept and my y-intercept. So regardless of if you want to do it this way or not, it really doesn't matter. You have to learn how to find the x and y-intercepts. Number 2, B rather. Okay. What's the coefficient of x? What's the coefficient of y? -2. -2. Okay. Does 1 go into -2 evenly? Does -2 go into -2 evenly? So can we use our procedure? Yes. Let's find the x-intercept. When I find the x-intercept, what disappears? The y. So in this case, x equals -2. -2, 0. That's my x-intercept. My y-intercept. Oh, let me erase that. Let me pay attention. My y-intercept. What do we get rid of now? The x. So -2y equals -2 divided by -2. Y equals 1, 0, 1. That's my y-intercept. And now I connect the dots. You mean to tell me that's hard? It's just a matter of learning the procedure, my brothers. For C, does 5 go into 60, gentlemen? Does -6 go into 60? So can we use this procedure? Okay. When I find my x-intercept, what do I make go bye-bye? The y, because y is 0 now. Remember, -6 times 0 is 0. So we're left with 5x equals 60. Divided by 5. So x equals 12. That's my y-intercept. Okay? I'm going to go by 2's on the x's. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. I'm going by 2's there, guys. Now I want to find my y-intercept. When I find my y-intercept, I make my x 0. So what disappears from this equation? The x. So I got -6y equals 60. So my y-intercept is negative 10. It's the y value on the y-axis when x is 0. Connect the dots. Ding dong, the witch is gone. Does that make sense, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you.
Went by
I went by 2's on the x's, but I went by 1's on the y's. If you don't ever see a label or a number on an x and y axis, you can assume that they're going by 1's. If you go by 2's or 3's or anything else, you have to label the numbers. Okay? Does that answer your question, sir?
but yeah, you can just.
You can have x-axis a different intervals than the y-axis. Yes.
Okay, line expression.
And if you wanted to do y and x both by 2's, that was the question. Yes, sir. Let's do it. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, that's 12. And then 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 10. Yes, sir. You could have done it that way as well, sir. Thank you, son. Yes, sir.
Do we have to label the axis?
Always have to label the x and y axis. Yes. Always have to label the x and y axis. Always. Forever. Last but not least. Does 2 go into 20? Does 5 go into 20? Can I use this method? Okay, what's my x-intercept going to be? What do I make go bye-bye? The y. So I got 2x equals 20. So x equals 10. Boom. That is 10, comma 0. That is the x-intercept. That is the x value on the x-axis when y equals 0. For the y-intercept, what am I making 0 this time? X. So what goes bye-bye? The 2x goes bye-bye. So 5y equals 20. Very good, sir. Y equals 4. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 0, 4. That is the y-intercept. That is the y value on the y-axis when x equals 0. Connect the dots and you're done. Does that make sense, gentlemen? Yes, sir. For these particular graphs, you only need 2 points. The x-axis and the y-axis. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You could have done those both by 2's. But in this case, I wouldn't do it by 2's because it's within the limits of my graph. See what I'm saying? Sir. Yes, I forgot to do that, but you always have to label the x and y axis. Yes, sir. You do not have to put these points. I am putting these points because I am teaching it to you. And you guys sometimes, if I skip any details, it hurts you guys. So I want to show you what exactly the points are. And if you watch the video again, after every point I explained why those points were those points. This is 10 comma 0 because it's the x value on the x-axis when y is 0. Okay, no, you do not have to write it. I'm just teaching it. I would write it on your notes. On a test, if you did that, sir, I'm not going to mark it wrong. And if you didn't do that, I would not mark it wrong either. Unless I specifically asked you to write it on the graph. Thank you, sir. Any other questions on that, guys? Okay, now, word problems. You know they're here. They're never going to leave. So let's figure it out. A media download store sells songs for $1 each and movies for $12 each. You have $60 to spend. Write and graph an equation that describes the items you can purchase. What are 3 combinations of numbers of songs and movies you can purchase? Okay. We have 2 different variables here, guys. Okay? We've got songs that sell for $1 and movies that sell for $12. So what I'm going to do, I know, surprise, surprise, like always, define my variables. So I'm going to go ahead and say that X, I'm going to assign X to the songs that are sold. Okay? The number of songs that are sold. And I'm going to say that Y are the number of movies. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, how much is each song, guys? So $1 for every song. plus $12 for every movie has to equal $60 because that's what I have to spend. Now in this case, you could solve for y if you wanted to, or you can make your life easy and realize, hey, wait a second. Does 1 go into 60, the coefficient of x? Does 12 go into 60, the coefficient of y? So if they're both factors of the constant c, go ahead and find the x-intercept, the y-intercept, graph it, you're done. So what's the x-intercept here, gentlemen? Yeah, the y goes bye-bye, so x equals $60. Good. Come on. 60 videos. Come on, man. Songs. Pay attention, Moro. Sorry. My y-intercept, what's that going to be, brothers? Yes, because that's good. The x goes bye-bye. I got 12y equals 60 divided by 12. So I could buy 5 movies, okay? Now I got to graph this bad boy, okay? In this particular case, I want to show you how to do this. Because sometimes people know how to do it, but they get a little confused on the whole graphing part of it because they don't understand the intervals, okay? So let's go ahead and whoever said that is perfectly right. Well done. Do we go by 10? Yes. On the x's, it's 60 songs. That's a lot, right? So let's go by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I can buy 60 songs. I know that because it's the x-intercept. This is 60 comma 0. I can buy 60 songs when I buy 0 movies. You feel me?
Yes.
Now, the y. Let's go by ones in that case. 5 movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, that's 0 comma 5. If I buy 0 video games, I can buy 5 movies. You with me? Connect the dots. Now, that's my equation. But we're not done with the question. The question said, what are 3 combinations of numbers and songs, of numbers of songs and movies that you can purchase? Guys, any combination on this line will work. So first of all, the combinations. Let me give you a bunch of them, not just 3. You could buy 0 games and 5 movies. Songs and movies. Okay, 0 songs and 5 movies. You could buy 60 songs, no movies. And then I like to find perfect points here. Like, for example, let's see. 40, here you go. Or you could buy 40 and 2. Does that make sense, my brothers? And if you plug it in, it makes sense. Because if I buy 40 songs and 2, let's think about it. 40 times 1, that's 40. Plus 2 times 12, that's actually 24. It's a little bit less than 2. This isn't a perfect point. But if you just said, if you gave this to me and said, any point, any combination on this line is a solution. Any of these points are a solution. Sir, you had a question? No? Yes, sir.
Every perfect point is like a combination.
Yes, every perfect point will be the combination that you'd be looking for. Okay? Does that make sense, gentlemen? Promise? Okay. And we are done. Thank you very much, gentlemen.